Yes, guys, let's begin the streaming. Let's begin the continuation of audit report. In this particular last session, let's conclude audit report topic. And anyhow, with this particular now, whatever the timestamp that you're watching, with this, the audit reporting topic will be completed. Yeah, fine. So let's continue the balance audit report topic. And if you recollect, we have already completed 7 standards. In the previous sessions, we have already completed 7 standards, almost 7 standards we completed. Like, just a minute. Yeah. So we completed almost 11 standards, right? Yeah. So now let's continue discussion of the remaining standards that were there as part of the syllabus. So now let's begin 710 standard. Yeah, first let's go to 710 standard. Just a minute. 710. This is one standard which is very tricky and where many students often have confusion. On 710, 710 is one standard where generally many students have confusion. Okay, immediately after 706 it will be there. Why again search? So 710. What is 710 standard is about? You look at the standard 710, it is talking about comparative information. That's it. 710 is talking about something called comparative information. What do you mean by comparative information? Very simple. You see any balance sheet P&L, you will find last year figures also, right? Along with current year figures, you will also find previous year figures in schedule 3. Comparatives we call. So comparatives, whatever you find in schedule 3 financials or bank balance sheet you take, any company balance sheet you take, you will find last year figures, right? That is called as, very simple, we call it as what? Comparative information. And you know, from auditor's point of view, this comparative information is broadly categorized into 2 types. From auditor point of view, this comparative information is broadly classified into 2 types. Corresponding figures. One type is corresponding figures. Another type is comparative financial statements. Mark my word, guys. 99% of the CA final students do not aware of what exactly comparative financial statements are. They don't understand the standard typically. They only understand corresponding figures, and once they read comparative financial statements topic, they miss the connection. What exactly it is talking about? Comparative financial statements is something, by the way, tell me, comparative, by the way, the standard is exactly dealing with what? Comparative information. What is auditor responsibility for comparative information? The auditor's responsibility will be different in the auditor's responsibility will be different for corresponding figures, and auditor responsibility is different for comparative financial statements. In both the cases, responsibility of the auditor will vary substantially. Very simple. In a corresponding figures approach, just 1 minute. Yeah. So in a corresponding figures approach, tell me, generally we give opinion, right? In the financial statements, we give opinion, right? On the financial statements, we give opinion on the current year figures or last year figures or both. Tell me, suppose we just saw Air India audit report, we saw SBI audit report, we give opinion only on the current year figures. Why the hell we give opinion on last year? Last year they were audited, right? Yeah, that is nothing but corresponding figures approach. In a corresponding figures approach, we do not give opinion on the last year, we only give opinion in our audit report, and our audit report is exclusively dealing with what? Exclusively dealing with current period figures only. On corresponding figures, we don't give opinion. Whereas in a comparative financial statements approach, auditor's opinion refers to each period presented in financial statements. In a comparative financial statements approach, auditor's opinion will be given on each period. For example, a company is preparing restated financial statements. Suppose a company is preparing restated financial statements. For example, the company accounting policy has been changed, and now the company is going for public issue, and the company is for the first time applying Ind AS. So they are restating the financial statements as per Ind AS for the last 3 years, and they are presenting a comparative financial statements which will have 3 years figures. And The auditor was appointed for that particular financial statements audit, where auditor has to audit all the 3 years and give a single audit report where all the 3 years opinions has to be given. Tell me, do we see this kind of audit format anywhere in your life? Like you have done articles, you have seen anywhere do you see this? No. Comparative financial statements is generally a special purpose financial statements. Comparative financial statements are generally what type of financial statements? Special purpose. And comparative financial statement is very popular in United States. It's not popular in India. That's it. In India, comparative financial statements approach we don't use. In India, we don't use comparative financial statements approach. The audit approach in India is corresponding figures approach. The auditors will only give opinion on current period figures. This is the main standard. In exam, they'll ask you, write about nature of comparative information. Straight away, 4 marks, many times asked. Nature of comparative. There are 2 approaches to comparatives. By the way, the nature depends upon the applicable framework. How the financials are prepared, the applicable law and regulation decide the nature of comparative information. It is often either corresponding figures or comparative statements. The approach is to be followed is specified by law. Now look at, just a minute. Yes. Just 1 minute. Yes. So what is a comparative information? Here let us see. Comparative information is nothing but amounts and disclosures of prior period. Remember, standard heading is comparative information. Extension is what? Approaches of the auditor. Heading is comparative information. But the remaining 2 terms, corresponding figure, comparative financial statement, is an approach of the auditor. Comparative information is what the actual standard is talking about. So in the comparative information, what is the approach of auditor? Corresponding figures are comparative financials. What is the approach? It is decided by the framework under which you are doing audit. Simple. Now, what is the audit procedure for comparative information? Very simple. We have to ensure that generally when comparative information is presented, see, forget about corresponding figure, comparative financial statements, forget about that. If comparative information is given, what is the auditor's procedure generally? What we do regarding comparative information? We shall verify whether the required comparative information is appropriately classified and agree to prior period amounts and disclosures. Whether last year comparative information, whatever we presented, right, company presented, right, is it matching with the prior period approved audited balance sheet? Check out. See consistency of accounting policy. Last year in the financials, what accounting policy followed? This year, what accounting policy the company is following? Is it consistent? And whether changes are properly accounted and disclosed. Further, suppose no, in a comparative information, material misstatement is there. In comparative material misstatement means what? Last year financial statements contains a material misstatement. Determine whether that result into a material misstatement in current period. This is generally opening balance. If it contains material mistake, it will naturally affect the current period financials, right? But sometimes no, in a opening balance, last year it is a material mistake, but in current year that mistake may not be material. That's why if last year comparative information contains MMS, see whether in the current period it is also MMS or not. Check out. Further, if prior period financials were audited by same auditor, last year also I am the same auditor, and I found a material misstatement in the last year. First, no, I will not talk about current period audit. If I find a last year misstatement in last year financial statements, I found a mistake. First, I will try to rectify that mistake by following SEA 560 procedure. You might have seen in SEA into SEA 560. If any events identified by the auditor subsequent to the date of auditor's report, any events that happened prior to the date of audit report, and if at all a fact came to knowledge of auditor after the date of audit report, you discuss with management and you will ask them to amend the financials. Perform 560 procedures if possible. If possible, perform 560. Sir, 560 I'm unable to perform, sir. We are unable to decide it we are unable to perform as a subsequent procedure. In that case, that time, no, I will tell you what exactly to do. Here we will be discussing. Okay, fine. Finally, after you do all this procedure, what procedure? Verify whether comparative information agreed to last year, whether accounting policies are matching or not, whether changes are accounted or not, whether material misstatement is there in comparative which is having a material impact on the current year or not. If at all prior period statements were audited by the same auditor, you are only audited, and 560 requirements. Finally, get a written representation for every period referred in the auditor's opinion. Generally, in a corresponding figures approach, auditor's opinion will only cover current period figure. Auditor's opinion will not talk about last year figure. So if at all I'm giving opinion on current period figure, then I will get a representation that all the current period figures were correctly accounted and disclosed. Finally, I will get a specific representation regarding any prior period item disclosed in current year P&L. Suppose the company has accounted prior period items in the current period. I have to ask management, please give me a specific representation that all the prior period items were correctly accounted and disclosed. I want a declaration. So I will ask a representation. Directly in exam, they'll ask you this question. Write about audit procedures for comparative information. 4 marks. Fine. This is generally for comparative. Sir, you know, corresponding figures, exactly what is the reporting requirement? I understand until now corresponding figures means only current period figures we will talk about. We will not talk about last year figures and all. Okay, reporting requirements for corresponding figures are exactly what? You know what? In the recent January 25 CA inter exam, forget about final year, your final, right? CA inter exam, they asked about comparative financial statements. They asked about comparative financial statements in CA inter exam. Till date, even in CA final it was never tested, but in CA inter it is tested. Honestly, I'm telling you guys, today CA inter audit paper is tougher than CA final audit paper. The standards at which, the level of depth at which at CA inter now questions are being tested is very advanced. Okay, fine. Anyhow, when I'm discussing that point, I'll tell you. Now, audit reporting regarding corresponding figures. Array, sir, what we report in corresponding? Just now you told, no. Corresponding figures means we only report on current period. We don't talk about last year figures. So should I have to report about corresponding figures? Huh? Generally, no. You see, by the way, corresponding figures means what? Corresponding figures are nothing but comparative information only. That is comparative information only, where prior period amounts and disclosures are presented as part of current period financials, and these prior period figures, no, you should read only along with the current period figures. The detailedness, last year figures, what detailed you will show, how much depth you will show, it is decided by the relevance to current period. This is corresponding figure. Now, auditor's opinion. What is auditor's opinion? Just a minute. What is auditor's opinion? Generally, auditor's opinion on auditor's opinion shall not refer to corresponding figures. Actually, on corresponding figures you can remove it, ma. On corresponding figures, this you strike off. Okay, fine. So generally, auditor's opinion shall not refer to corresponding figures. However, there are 4 circumstances. There are 4 circumstances, you see, except in the following cases. This is tried question was asked in CA final. Under what circumstances auditor's opinion may also refer, or auditor's report may also refer to corresponding figures? Generally, auditor's opinion or auditor's report do not refer to corresponding figures, but under what circumstances corresponding figures will also be discussed by auditor in the audit report? There are 4 circumstances where we talk about corresponding figures also in the current year audit report. We talk about corresponding figures. We talk about last year financial statements. We talk about that in the current year audit report. When? First point, last, from bottom I will come. 1. Prior period financials, no, not audited by me. Previously another auditor was there, he audited. So there is a disclosure requirement. What is it? Under other matter paragraph. Where? Under other matter paragraph. What you have to do? If prior period financials were audited by predecessor auditor, other matter paragraph, in the current year audit report, other matter paragraph, state that financials were audited by predecessor auditor for last year. What opinion he gave? Why? Suppose last year he gave modified opinion. In the basis for qualified opinion, adverse opinion, disclaimer, some opinion he gave, no, that basis, copy that matter and report it. Date of the predecessor auditor's report. Sir, last year some other auditor has audited, sir. Very simple. Who audited? Give that information. What opinion gave? Information. Date of the report. That's it. Second, another scenario. This is one situation where prior period financial statements related information I will refer. Another situation, sir, prior period financials were not at all audited, sir, which means opening balance is not audited. Then, if prior period financials were not audited, state the same in other matter paragraph that corresponding figures were not audited. This statement does not reduce responsibility for opening. Just because you're saying last year figures were not audited, that doesn't mean you're exempted to verify opening balance. As per 510 standard, you should still get opening balances sufficient appropriate evidence. Second scenario. Third scenario. Sir, material misstatement is existing, sir, in prior period, and on which no last year auditor gave unmodified opinion, sir. Prior period financials contain a material mistake, and on that no last year it was not discovered. Unmodified opinion is given. Is it corrected in current period? Check out. Verify whether the mistake was corrected under the financial reporting framework in current period. Check out. If not corrected, sir, last year mistake is there. Last year auditor gave unqualified opinion. That mistake is carry forwarded now. Now it has a material impact. It is corrected. No problem. If it is not corrected, you express a qualified or adverse opinion on the current period financial statements. That's it. So indirectly, if a material misstatement is there in the prior period financial statements on which unmodified opinion is given and which is not yet corrected in the current period, if the impact is severe, you will give qualified opinion on the current period figures because there is a carry forward of the mistake from the opening balance. That's it. That is the third scenario. Fourth scenario where corresponding figures related, opening balance related, comparative information related will be covered in our current year audit report. Unresolved prior period modification. Unresolved prior period modification. What does it mean? Last year, no, prior period auditor gave a qualified opinion, disclaimer or adverse. And why? What reason? That remained unresolved in current period. Same reason is continued in the current period. Then modify current period opinion. You please modify current period opinion. Why? Last year auditor gave a modified opinion. That reason why modified opinion was given exactly carry forwarded now also. Whereas here, no, in the B point, no, last year auditor gave unmodified opinion. So here it is different. B point, mistake is there, but he did not find it. He gave unmodified. You discovered mistake in the last year. No, that time this point. Sir, last year mistake is there. Auditor discovered. He already gave a modified opinion. And the reason, no, management did not rectify later. Same reason present now also. Now, current period also you modify the opinion. Current auditor shall modify the opinion if previous audit report contains a modified opinion and the matter remained unresolved. Provided in the basis for opinion section, in the basis for modified opinion para, refer both current period figure and corresponding figures in the basis for modification para if unresolved matter materially affects the current period figure. If at all, last year auditor gave modified opinion, last year auditor gave modified opinion, and it is materially affecting in the last year, and the same is carry forward in current year, not yet resolved. In the current year also it is materially affecting. Modify on the current period financial statements in the basis for qualified or adverse opinion in the current period. No, refer about current year figure, last year figure, say that there is a mistake like this, and it's a material in the financial statements. Not material. For example, matter is not yet resolved, but in the current year it is not material. But in the current year it is not a material. Last year mistake is that last year balance, last year opening balance is materially misstated, but it is not material in the current period. In the current period, business has become so big that mistake became very small. But current period figure you have to compare with last year figure. No, current year is free from material mistake. Why free from material? Mistake is there on current year, but that's not material. So current period figure is free from MMS, but last year figure is containing material mistake. Comparability is affected now. So if at all unresolved matter is material in current period, you will qualify current period. If it is not material in current period, sir, not material in current period, sir, explain. Current period opinion is modified because unresolved matter is affecting comparability of current with the prior period figure. That's it. Getting it? So that's it. So yeah, Vamsi, somebody is saying it is like a CA int class. It's CA final syllabus, Vamsi. You don't know syllabus, CA final syllabus. Fine. So that's it. So this is regarding corresponding figures. Next. Now, audit reporting for comparative financial statements. In the recent CA Inter exam, Jan 25, it was asked. Remember, in CA final also they can ask you, obviously. So, therefore, now, audit reporting for comparative. For comparative, no, auditor's opinion shall refer to each period for which financials are prepared. I told you, comparative financial statements is not a general purpose financial statements, not a general purpose framework. This is not popular in India at all. It is popular in US. Now further, no, sometimes what happens, you know, you are the same auditor, last year financial statements you gave some opinion, This year again, company requested you to audit. Last year figures also they requested you to audit once again. No. And what happened, last time when you audited last year figures, that time you gave unqualified opinion. This time again when you're auditing, you got modified opinion. Are same auditor, no? Why are you giving two different opinions? Last time you gave unqualified, this time you are giving qualified on the same figure. What happened? If auditor's opinion on prior period financials differs from previously expressed opinion, disclose reasons in other matter paragraph in the current period on the comparative financial statements. Simple. Next, sir, prior period financial statements. Just a minute. Prior period financial statements were audited by predecessor auditor. This is a small, simple disclosure requirement here. Prior period financials were audited by predecessor auditor. Same disclosure. In other matter paragraph, state that they were audited by predecessor auditor, type of opinion, date. Suppose material misstatement is existing in prior period financials on which previous auditor gave an unmodified opinion. Same point is there, no? Communicate with management and notify the previous auditor if possibility is there. If prior period statements are amended, no? Predecessor auditor issue new report, no? Current auditor reports only on the current period. That's it. You don't have to report on the comparative financial statements. But generally, this is not reality. This is not practical. Comparative financials, when you were appointed specifically, you should give opinion on all the years. That's it. And if prior period figures were not audited, same corresponding figures, what reporting requirement applies? Same reporting applies here. In exam, what is most important is corresponding figures is most important. Comparative financial statements not that important. For your information, now immediately you might say, sir, just now you told in CA Inter this question was asked. No, why? What is a guarantee that in CA final they will not test comparative financial statements? What is a guarantee? You know what? In CA Inter, though they asked comparative financial statements, the question was wrongly asked. Their intention is corresponding figures. They by mistake use a comparative financial statements in the question paper. And suggested answer, they gave only this answer. Suggested answer, they gave only this particular point and this particular point. That's it. So corresponding figures is only important. And I request you to listen once again this particular standard so that you will get more clarity. That's it. 710 is over. Then I will go to 720. 720 standard. What is 720 standard? What is auditor's responsibility? What is auditor's responsibility related to other information? What is other information? For example, I will show you Air India audit report or SBI audit report. I will show you. You see SBI audit report almost 364 pages here. 364 pages SBI audit report. You see what are the annual report. Annual report. SBI annual report you say 360. What is SBI? What are the products offering? Financial legacy, ratings, awards, environment, people, community, governance, central board of directors, members, local committee, direct report, CG report, business responsibility report, then financials, notice, initiatives. So much is there in the annual report. And you see here, I will show you, total assets are 61 lakh crore. Deposit 49 lakh crore. Some financial highlights they are showing. Now, what if? Look at this question carefully. I am reading this annual report. I got this annual report. I saw total assets number here. I saw income number here. I saw interest income all that here. And I thought everything is genuine. And I proceeded further. Then I saw balance sheet P&L where the balance sheet total assets value is not this. Some other value is there. Immediately as a user, what I will feel, company annual report is showing 61 lakh crore, balance sheet which is signed by auditor is showing some other number, which is correct. People will get a doubt, right? Exactly. To answer these kind of scenarios, only 720 standard has been brought. What 720 standard they are saying? What is the objective of the auditor? Check whether material inconsistency is there between other information and financial statements. Sir, first of all, other information means what? Remember guys, other information is different from other matter paragraph. Other matter paragraph is different. Other information is different. So I am talking about other information. What is other information? You see, definition is given. What is other information? Other information can be financial information, non-financial information. It is included in annual report. Remember, other information is included in annual report, but does not include financial statements and audit report. It won't include financials and audit report, except financials and audit report remaining. For example, State Bank 365 pages annual report is there. Inside that, 200 pages is financials. Rest 150, 160 pages is other information. That's it. Okay, now what is audit responsibility here? I need to read the other information. I need to read annual report. I need to take annual report. Read annual report. Whether other information numbers, financial statement numbers matching or not, check out. So, is there any inconsistency between other information and financials? Is there any inconsistency between other information and my knowledge about the company? Audit. Respond. If inconsistency is identified, report accordingly. For example, no other information, total turnover, balance sheet P&L total turnover not matching. I need to go further investigation, which is right. Sometimes no other information might be wrong. They wrongly mentioned a wrong amount. Balance sheet P&L I already audited, which is right. If this is the case, what auditor has to do? Exceptional cases, other information is right. In our balance sheet P&L, which I thought all these days true and fair, is wrong. How do I discover this mistake? Basically, P&L account and other information not matching. When they're not matching, I investigated. When I investigated, I found that P&L account numbers, balance sheet account, financial statements are materially misstated. I found what auditor has to do. Exactly is what the standard is dealing with. Now, what is an annual report? You just read this on your own. Okay. Now, what is the audit procedure for other information? Very simple. What is the procedure? I will show you what exactly auditors will do for other information. Okay, I will directly show you what exactly auditors will do for other information. For example, you go to State Bank of India, standalone financial statements. Here you see other information paragraph will be there. Now, this is actually IFC report. Yeah, other information, here it is there. Yes, below that, where is other information? Responsibilities auditor. Yeah, information other than financials and audit report, that is called as other information. No, information which may be financial, non-financial, other than financial statements and audit report. So what board of directors are saying here? You see, the bank board of directors is responsible for preparing other information. Okay, other information is what? Some CG report, that and all is there. What is our in connection with our audit? What is audit responsibility? Our responsibility is to read other information, identify whether is there any inconsistency with the financials and our knowledge obtained during the audit. If we have, if at all, if based on the work we performed, if at all other information that we obtained, we conclude that there is a material misstatement of other information, we are required to report. What are they saying? Suppose when we are reading other information and financials, when we are comparing, if at all we found any mistake in other information, balance sheet P&L free, they are free from MS, they are right. Other information, if it is wrong, we have to communicate here. That point auditor is communicating in other information section of the auditor's report. Now look at our book. So what is the auditor's responsibility here? What is auditor responsibility here? Just a minute. What is the auditor's responsibility here? So what is the auditor responsibility? Just a minute. Yeah, it's there. So what is auditor responsibility? The auditor must obtain other information. First, get it. Discuss with management. Sir, what are all the documents you are including annual report? Ask them. Obtain final version of the document before you give audit report. Yes, before you give audit report. For example, if some documents are available after, suppose management, sir, first you give audit report, sir, we will give other information later to you. Then get a written representation that other information, once it is ready, they will give it to you first, then only they will publish. Then, okay, management gave you annual report. Before you sign the audit report, they gave you annual report. Read it. Why are you reading it? Other information, check for inconsistency. Inconsistency with what? Other information, check with financial statements. Inconsistency, other information with your knowledge and indications that other information is materially misstated. For example, inconsistency